Hello everyone out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And today we are going to finish talking about Officer and a Gentleman. That's right, Officer and a Gentleman. That romantic movie from 1982. Let me tell you something. 1982 was a totally different time. Okay, most of you, probably a lot of you were not alive in 1982, but I sure as hell was. I was a little kid. I didn't understand a lot of things, okay? But I do remember that the Cold War was on, all right? This was a very big time politically. You know, Russia was the big enemy, and Americans, we were all scared to death of Russia. So Russia, like, we had to destroy them and stuff because they were going to kill us. They were going to kill us when I was a kid. And we were so afraid of that I remember a movie called The Day After. It was called made-for-TV movies with Jason Robards and Steve Guttenberg. And in that movie, it was a made-for-TV movie, and it showed you what the world would be like if nuclear war had happened. Okay, how we sent the missiles to Russia, and Russia sent the missiles back. Everybody dies. Everyone gets, radiation sickness and stuff. It's really bad, and it ends on a really really dire fucking note, man. It's really bad. The ending is just horrible. And they told us at school not to watch it. The parents, the teachers told the parents, don't watch that movie. Don't watch it with your kids. Well, of course, I watched it anyway, and I had nightmares. I thought that was going to happen tomorrow. And if you watch the news, if you listen to what was going on, you always thought that was going to happen tomorrow. It was a scary fucking time, all right? 1982, okay? And I also remember that the adults, my parents and stuff, and people like their age were saying that this shit had happened before, the Cuban Missile Crisis. We were this close to World War III before, way before I was born, and that it was going to happen again or some shit like that, And it was just a scary time. It was a fucking scary time. Like, my parents had lived through the Cuban Missile Crisis, all right? And they were scared that shit was going to happen again. We had to build bomb shelters again, all right? So it's quite a fucking time. I didn't know any of this shit till I was much older, but I found out exactly why the parents were so fucking scared of the Russians. Well, now we understand, okay? But Hollywood did have an antidote to this anxiety that we were all feeling, and that was patriotic military movies. Yes, movies that could get you going, make you feel proud of your country, and not only here in America, but to show the whole world that the United States is not a country to be fucked with. Okay, we had President Reagan in charge, man. That fucker was all about the corporations, all about fucking making money. All right. So yes, he was just a puppet for the corporations. I know, but goddamn it, the world was afraid of him. Okay, nobody wanted to fuck with Reagan. Okay, because he would nuke you in a fucking moment. Well, of course he wouldn't, but he wanted you to think that he would, right? Everyone was scared of him, okay? As far as like the communists go. And now the communists are here. Go figure. But anyway, back then, the communists were over there, all right? So they were scared of America, and for good reason, okay? We had the nukes, we were tough, And a lot of movies came out during that time, a lot of pro-military movies, like Stripes, with Harold Ramis and Bill Murray. That came out around this time. John Candy was in that too. It was a very funny movie, okay? Also like Private Benjamin. That relaunched Goldie Hawn's career. That came out at around this time. What else? We had Heartbreak Ridge. That was with Clint Eastwood and Mario Van Peebles, and Dylan McDermott. That was a good one. Hamburger Hill. There's another one. That was pretty good pro-America movies. We had Full Metal Jacket. Okay, which my dad took me to go see that in the '80s. Okay, that was pro-military. I had no idea that one day I would join the Marines myself. And that shit was realistic. Okay, Full Metal Jacket. It's the nightmare side of Vietnam. We had Platoon. That was another very popular one, because all these fucking movies were about Vietnam, because everybody was reliving their fucking youth and getting stoned and fucking doing drugs and listening to the goddamn fucking Beatle albums. That was like the whole thing in the 80s. Everybody wanted to do that. Watch 30-something. That's all it was fucking about. All right, Vietnam. I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't alive during Vietnam. I didn't give a fuck about Vietnam, but I kept getting fucking inundated with fucking Vietnam everywhere I fucking looked. Everywhere from fucking Family Ties to goddamn fucking the Wonder Years. It was all about fucking Vietnam. I didn't give two fucking shits about Vietnam. But anyway, moving right along, okay? And probably the best movie of this kind that came out in the 80s was, you guessed it, Top Gun. Top Gun with Tom Cruise, Maverick. Yeah, that was a good one, dude. And the sequel's even better. Oh my God. Last year, Top Gun Maverick, that was a great fucking movie. But I'm talking about the original one, all right? So there was a lot of patriotic military movies. And of course, this movie we're talking about here was also one of them, okay? An Officer and a Gentleman, okay? It was a patriotic movie. I think the writer, Douglas Stewart, he based it on his own life experiences, okay, going to OCS. He went to OCS and he fell in love with a girl, okay, that worked in a shithole factory in a rinky-dink fucking town right outside the military academy, okay, and when he graduated, he fucking left her there. He left her there. Yeah, yes, he did, okay? But he didn't write a screenplay. But he did write a screenplay about it later on. He shopped it around Hollywood it was in limbo for 8 years. John Travolta was supposed to be considered, but he didn't want to do it. They had Jennifer Jason Leigh was supposed to do it. She didn't want to do it. She did Fast Times at Ridgemont High instead. So they were offering it to several different girls. And Melanie Griffith was supposed to play Paula, and she turned it down. I think she would have made a better fucking Lynette, actually. But you know, so it had been in limbo for a while. They decided to make it with a relatively unknown Richard Gere. I mean, he'd done a lot of TV shows. I remember he was on episodes of like Streets of San Francisco and Kojak and shit like that, you know. But he hadn't really, like, I think he'd been in a few movies, but he hadn't really headlined anything. He was not a leading man yet. This was like to prove that he could be a leading man. Then after this, he gets American Gigolo, another movie that John Travolta turned down. Okay, and then this launched his career. Next thing you know, he's doing all sorts of fucking shit and doing Pretty Woman and everything else. Okay, The Jackal and shit. But this was the one that really catapulted him. Okay, and rightfully so. He did a very good job in this movie. He actually acted like a man, which we don't really see too much of that anymore, especially not in rom-coms, but even like in guy movies, you don't see that anymore. You don't see men acting like men anymore. Hollywood does not put that out anymore. It's sad. It's sad because even though we're not depicted in movies anymore, okay, it doesn't mean that people don't still want to see us. Okay, so this is just a phase, and it will go away. Believe me, it will. Okay. Where men can start acting like men, and Richard Gere most definitely acts like a man, and I mean that in the best way. I also mean that in the worst way. Okay? His insecurities are the insecurities a lot of men have. I myself am a veteran. I was in the Marines, okay, for many years. Okay, so I related a lot to this movie. In fact, it's one of the movies I watched before I went to boot camp, so I could prepare myself for what was coming. I had my own romances in the Marine Corps, and I definitely remember this movie. And I'm glad I watched this movie before I joined the Marines, so I could know exactly what was coming. Okay, because a lot of the guys I went to school with, a lot of the guys I was stationed with, they had no idea. Okay, and they got fucking took. Thank God I saw this movie. Now, I didn't prepare me for everything, okay? I still made a lot of mistakes, okay, and shit that I learned from, but at least it got me in the right mindset, okay, of what these girls are like that live off the military bases, okay? We're basically their bread and butter, okay? They ain't gonna tell you that, but we are their bread and butter, okay? They need us more than we need them, unfortunately, and it's true, okay? But they will not tell you that. In fact, they'll play it the other way around. You need us. That's what they'll do, okay? Because there's a hell of a lot more men that are available than there is women, so they're going to make themselves scarce, and they're going to tell you, you need to do this, or else I'm going to go with one of the other 2,500 options I have, okay? Well, if that works, okay? But if every guy's like you, they got nothing. They got nothing, all right? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, so I watched this movie, and I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a great fucking movie, okay? I thought it was very well acted. I think Paula, Deborah Winger's Paula, who did an incredible job. I know she's the real reason y'all watch this movie is because of Paula, because of her character arc, which was very, very good, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about relationships, and the ending was just incredible. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The ending, because after this, I'm done reviewing this movie, all right? Just so you know, I am Diego. I give you a straight man's point of view. That's the point of view you never got, okay? When you watch this fucking movie with your mom, your grandma, your girlfriends, your gay friends, and your slumber parties and shit, get the fuck out of here then. I'm going to tell you what a real guy thinks about this movie, these characters, these situations, okay, and these relationships, all right? Straight man's point of view. I got nothing to gain my line to you. I do not bullshit here, okay? I don't censor myself either, so if you cannot handle it, if you cannot take honest to God opinions without being offended, if you're a snowflake, get the fuck out of here, okay? I will not censor myself. I'm gonna give you a straight up dose of lube. A straight up dose of truth with no lube here. Not here. The real question you need to ask yourself is, can you handle it? Can you handle the truth? Because I know you can't. I already know you can't. It's a rhetorical question, but oh well. All right, where do we leave off? Okay, so by this time, I'm not going to catch you up. You already know what happened, okay? We got Zach Mayo, played by Richard Gere. He meets this rinky-dink, honky-tonk girl that works at a factory outside of the military base of his OCS school. He also makes best friends with Sid Worley, another rich officer's son who's going to OCS school as well to prove that he can be an officer as well, like his older brother who died in Vietnam is. He's even engaged to his older brother's ex-fiance. So they start tag teaming a couple of girls, Paula, played by Deborah Winger, and Lynette, played by Paula Pomeroy, or Laura Pomeroy, or something like that. All right, and so they're tag teaming. Well, not tag teaming. They're double dating. Okay, Sid falls in love with Lynette when he finds out that she's pregnant. It turns out she lied and she does not love him. She just wanted him to marry her so she could get the fuck out of fucking Jerkwater, Minnesota. All right, and so once he finds that out, okay, he already dropped out of school, so he can't take that back. He can't go back into OCS anymore. So he decides to commit suicide. This breaks Zach's heart because Zach, that was the only friend he really had. The only two people he was ever really close to during this whole OCS experience was Sid and Paula. He already ghosted Paula because he knew he was getting too close to her. He knew that he was starting to develop feelings for her, and that scared him. He doesn't want to develop, he doesn't know how to develop feelings for other people. Okay, he only knows how to close himself off because his mother committed suicide when he was a little kid, and his dad did not love him, did not want him. So he really doesn't know how to form relationships. He's scared of that, so he runs away from it. He shuts down. He was starting to get better. He was starting to care about other people. Once Gunny Foley, played by Lou Scott Jr., his drill instructor, once his drill instructor put him on the spot and started hazing him, started giving him some great it's called incentive training all weekend, took away his libo. Okay, he realized that he can be a better recruit, he can be a better candidate, be a better man. Okay, if he starts caring about other people. Okay, and starts helping people out instead of fucking trying to con everybody. Okay, that works for a little while, but then he realizes that, you know what, there are things there that he cannot control. Like the way other people act, he can't control that. He can't control the fact that his best friend committed suicide. He can't control the fact that this woman, Paula, loves him, okay, is really wanting to be with him, and he's starting to develop feelings for her, and that's scaring him, so he's just going to cut that off. He just ghosts her, okay? He can't handle the fact that now she's dating other guys. Okay, and he can't handle the fact that maybe he's not the fact that he's so upset when Sid kills himself and he finds his dead body there. He is so upset about that. It brings back all these memories about how when he found his mother, when he came home from school as a kid and found his mother had overdosed on a bottle of sleeping pills. Okay, it brings all that back. So now he realizes he can't control his emotions at all. He can control himself, but he can't control what other people do. And other people, because he cares about other people now, other people are capable of hurting him, capable of having an emotional anxiety attack, capable of fucking him up. Okay, so he goes back to the way he used to be. He just fucking shuts everyone down. He decides he's going to quit the Navy. Fuck you. Fuck everybody. Fuck Paula. I don't want Paula to love me. Fuck Sid. He was weak. He killed himself. He should have talked to me. He fucking left me without even saying goodbye. And fuck the Navy. I don't need this shit. I don't need anybody here. Blah, blah, blah. I don't need to be a gentleman. I don't need to be a fucking pilot. I don't need this shit. I just want to go. I just want to get the fuck out of here. And fuck you. And then, of course, he takes it out on Gunny, his drill instructor, okay? And Gunny teaches him a lesson by beating his ass and telling him that, hey, listen, dude, the only one who can fuck it up right now is you. You're this close to graduation, okay? You're this close to being what you want to be, okay? But the real goal is not to be an officer. The real goal is to be a gentleman, okay? You need to change the way you think. Okay, there's some things that are out of your control, and you have to learn how to navigate with life and live life on life's terms and quit trying to control everything. You cannot make people do what they don't want to do. This is a lesson that Paula also has to learn in this movie. You cannot make people do what they don't want to do. Okay, and sometimes their decisions are going to fucking hurt you, and if that's enough to hurt you, okay, if you getting hurt is enough for you to give up, then you don't fucking belong here, because life is about getting hurt. It's about joy too, but sometimes you're gonna get hurt. If you cannot fucking handle getting hurt, okay, you don't deserve to be a fucking officer. Okay. And that's basically what he's trying to teach him, okay? Fuck all that shit. Fuck your past. Your mom killed herself. All right, your dad's an asshole, okay? You were raised with a bunch of fucking whores by an alcoholic father who didn't give two shits about you. Okay, you know, that's not who you are, okay? You get to pick who you want to be. You were an asshole in the beginning of the movie. You chose to be an asshole because you're too afraid to be a real fucking person. And now that you're a real fucking person, you realize that you can get hurt. You realize that people are capable of hurting you and you can't handle that. Fuck you. Be a fucking man. This is what happens in life. You cannot experience joy without pain. It's like this movie I saw a long time ago when I was a kid called Oh God Book 2 with George Burns. He's talking to this little girl named Tracy, okay? And she's probably like 8 or 9 years old. And she asks God, she says, God, what about when people, when bad things happen to little kids, like kids my age, when kids like me die, okay? Why do you allow things like that to happen, God? And he tells us like, well, listen, you know, you're talking about pain and suffering here, and there's nothing I can do about pain and suffering. So why not? He's like, well, it's built into the system. She said, but you invented the system. He's like, yes, I did, but I never figured out how to make anything that was one-sided. And she says, I don't understand what's one-sided. It means, have you ever seen an up without a down? You ever seen a left without a right? You ever seen a front without a back? Okay? If I take away pain and suffering, joy and happiness has to go with it. Okay? You can't have one without the other. And if you can figure out a better way to do this thing, put it in the suggestion box. But I never figured it out. And that's so fucking true. You cannot be happy and in love without experiencing sadness and pain as well. These are the things that Zach Mayo is having a hard time reconciling, okay? If you want to be happy, you're going to have to risk pain. If you want to open up to people and form a relationship, you have to risk them hurting you. Otherwise, you're just going to close yourself off. And it's because you chose to be that way. You chose to be a coward. Okay? Officers are not cowards. You see what I mean? These are the things that he's learning the hard way, okay? And now, you know, he has that a preface in his relationship here. What am I going to do? He blames Gunny. Gunny represented the Navy to him. Gunny kicked his ass and said that, you know, the Navy never gave up on Zach. The Navy supported him. Zach's got what it takes. It's up to him. The only one who can fuck it up right now is himself. And that's the main lesson that he learns right there at the end. When he gets his ass kicked by Gunny, he's like, listen, okay, none of that shit fucking matters. Your past don't fucking matter. All that matters is what you do right now, okay? And whatever you accomplish is not nearly as important as who you are, as who you choose to be. Okay? You can still be a gentleman and not be an officer. And that's good enough. You see what I mean? So he's there. He's at the prep system. Decide what to do. Well, guess what? He decides that he wants to be an officer after all. So he does not kick out. He does not quit. He does not DOR. We see him at the graduation ceremony, which is the very next scene after he got his ass kicked scene. You see that everyone's wearing their dress white, service whites. Okay, they're all up there. The colonel, I guess, or the captain goes up there and makes a big fucking speech. He presents Gunnery Sergeant Foley, and gives him a meritorious like fucking good job. He's saying thank you, sir, and then he goes over there and he tells the class, he goes up in front of all the students there, all the candidates, what were they called anyway? They were class like 510 or, but he stops Gunny, class 1581, fall out, and they do their whole like, aye, sir. Fucking throw their caps up in the air. Now let me tell you something. As a Marine myself, the day that I graduated boot camp, okay, when my drill instructor said, platoon 3106, dismissed, aye, sir. Hoorah! We did not throw our caps. They told us that if we were to throw our caps in the air, they were going to beat the shit out of us in front of our family that was there. So we did not throw our caps up in the air. We were not allowed to do that. But it was let me tell you something, okay? If you've ever been there, you understand what I'm talking about. But for those of you who have never been in the military, when you graduate basic training, or in my case, boot camp, recruit training, I was in San Diego. It was about a fucking 100 degrees that day. We're on the marching parade ceremony right there. And my dad showed up. My dad was there and my little brother was there. But my mom was not there because if you remember my other video, my mom had just given birth to my triplet sisters a few weeks earlier, so she wasn't going to fly all the way to San Diego to be there for me. I actually flew to go see her and to meet my sisters for the first time. Yeah, my infant sisters. I met them for the first time right after I graduated boot camp. It's one of the first people I wanted to meet, too. Oh, my God. They're all like fucking college graduates now. All right, anyway. So I mean, it's one of the best films in the world. Let me tell you something, okay? I was there for 13 weeks, okay? And when they gave us dismissed and we finally said, hoorah, the feeling that I had, I felt like I could exhale now. I felt like I've been holding my breath. I felt like I had this nightmare for 13 weeks, And then all of a sudden, I'm awake. Now I'm awake, and I'm myself again. But now I'm wearing a fucking Marine Corps uniform. That's how it felt, okay? All that tension that I've just put up with for the past 13 weeks was over, and I was so fucking happy. I was like, oh my God, I made it. I'm a Marine. This is what a Marine feels like, because we didn't feel like Marines the whole time we were training. It wasn't until that moment, that ceremony, that we actually finally got it. It's one of the best feelings I ever had. Anyway, so I can imagine that's exactly what Zach Mayo's going through. He's all excited, he's all happy, saying goodbye. Everyone's circle jerking each other, everyone's hugging each other and shit. We see Seeger's parents were there. Okay, that was the one female that was in his class. She's hugging her family, her parents. Della Sera wants a Mayo to meet his parents. He says no, I ain't gonna do that. Instead, he wants to go get saluted. Okay, his first salute. Okay. Which is something that they do, okay? It gets it's honorary or something, a tradition, okay? Now what that is because Gunny Foley is a non-commissioned officer, okay? He's an enlisted man, he's non-commissioned, hence he never went to college, okay? He's just there, but he earned his rank, okay? But the officers, in order to be an officer, you have to go to college, okay? So now that they've all graduated, now they're all lieutenants or ensigns, now they're all ensigns. Okay, so now all of them outrank Gunny Foley now. So now Gunny Foley's the one that has to salute them and call them sir. Okay, so he does that. He goes up there. We see Seeger do it. Foley corrects Seeger. Says like, no, you don't call me sir. I call you ma'am. Okay, it's Sergeant Foley. You don't call me sir anymore. Okay, and then of course Mayo goes up there. And in case you haven't noticed, okay, Louis Goss Jr. won an Academy Award for this movie. Okay, and well deserved. He was incredible. Okay, I've met plenty of staff sergeants that were like him, or worse than him. Actually, my four fucking drill instructors were a lot worse than fucking Gunny Foley. Let me tell you something. Okay, they were in a fucking resort. They were in Disneyland Resort compared to the shit that I had to fucking go to. Their fucking OCS is like fucking Universal Studios compared to the shit that I had to fucking go through at MCRD San Diego. But anyway, Zach has a lot of reverence for Gunny Foley. Gunny Foley was really the father figure that Zach did not have, that Zach needed. Okay, Gunny was the one that taught him all the things that he needed to learn that his father should have taught him but didn't. Okay, and he taught him the way fathers teach, the hard way, through experience, through discipline. Okay, all these things that his father never gave him. His father raised him in a fucking whorehouse, practically as an alcoholic. Fucking whore, Filipino whores. Okay, he grew up in the Philippines, getting his ass kicked by all the fucking the Asian kids that were there. He was the only white kid around. So yeah, so his childhood wasn't very good. Okay, but Gunny Foley kind of stepped in there, and in the 13 weeks that he knew Gunny Foley was the father that Zach never had. Gunny Foley was the one that proved to him that hey, I'm not giving up on you. I'm not giving up on you. Even though he treated him like shit, he called him names, he told him to quit, he told him to give up. Okay, he did that to test him to see if he had what it takes to be a fucking officer. Because if you can easily quit because of a little bit of pain, you don't fucking belong here. Okay, and that's what he taught Zach. Okay, that's what he learned. That's what Zach learned from him. Okay, Gunny Foley was the fucking was the role model, dude. Even when Daniels was fucking panicked, had a panic attack underwater, it was Gunny that dove in there and saved him, gave him CPR in front of the whole class. Okay, so Gunny Foley always put his money where his mouth was. Okay, there's nothing he ever asked those candidates to do that he didn't do himself. Okay, nothing at all. All right, so Gunny Foley was the fucking shit. You want to talk about a role model? He led by example. He fucking led by example. That's a fucking leader. And that's definitely a father figure for Zach. That's exactly what he needed. And when Zach got out of hand and became a punk again, it was Gunny that fucking slapped him down, that fucking put him back down where he belongs. Getting a little too big for your britches there, boy. Absolutely. And that's exactly what Zach needed. Some fucking discipline. Someone who can teach him the ropes about life. You don't just give up because things get hard. When things get hard, that's when it starts getting interesting. All right. So that's going on here. Okay, and he tells him, Mayo's staring at him during this salute ceremony, and he says, and I can tell he's basically thinking, thank you, Dad, thanks for not giving up on me. I can tell it just by looking at his face. That's exactly what he's trying to communicate with his eyes. Just like that. And Zach's like, I'll never forget you. And Gunny's like, I know. Won't make him eye contact because he outranks him now. It's like I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for you. And Gunny's just like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, and he goes, you're right face, and he's out of there. Okay, well, he gets on his he says, thank you, Sergeant, and he gets on his motorcycle and he starts to leave. Now, before he leaves the base, I remember when I drove off the base, I gave the base a big fuck you when I left because I didn't want to go back there again. But he stops on his motorcycle. He stays in his service whites, and he looks at the new class that just arrived, okay? All the fucking dumb fucks that just came there with their long hair and their bullshit clothes. And he sees that everything, all the drill instructor had done, okay, that whole speech about steers with queers, y'all are the most pathetic class I've ever seen, and you slimy worms, all that kind of shit that happened to him earlier in the movie. Now it's happening to this new class. Okay, so everything was scripted. Okay, so Zach realizes that basic training here, officer candidate school, none of it was personal. None of this was personal. This was just a script, okay, that the drill instructor gives to every new class. He tells them they're all pieces of shit. They're all fucking queers. They're not going to make it. They're all going to fucking quit. They're the worst class he's ever had, blah, blah, blah. He tells that to every fucking class to test them to see how much they can take, all right? It was not personal, okay? And Zach realized that, okay, all this was a test. Everything that happened here was a test. It wasn't personal. It was a test to test me, okay? But one thing Zach did notice when he graduated, when he's congratulating everybody, that nobody was there for him. Nobody showed up for his graduation. His dad didn't show up. Nobody showed up, okay? And you could tell that's something that he felt was lacking in him, okay? Here he is. He just graduated, just became an officer. There's nobody there to share it with except his fellow classmates, but they all have family there. They all have people there. Zach has nobody. He has nobody there, He has nobody there to share this moment with, which is kind of sad. It really is. Here he accomplished something incredible, and there's nobody around, nobody that he cares about that was there with him to see it happen. You see what I mean? So you can tell that he's kind of suffering from that. He's also thinking a lot about what Gunny told him, It's all about you. It's all up to you now. If you want to quit, quit. It's all on you now. I can't help you anymore. And it is, it is. So what does Zach decide to do? Like I said, nothing in his basic training was personal, okay? But what he does next is completely 150 fucking percent personal, okay? He goes back to the fucking paper company, okay? He's the National Paper Factory, because that's where Paula and Lynette and Esther, who's Paul's mom, they all work there. Okay, that's the factory they all work at. All right, a lot of the women work there. Okay, they're all there on the weekends. They go fucking look at the candidates to try to fuck them, to try to get them to marry them and get them the fuck out of fucking Jerkwater, South Dakota, wherever the fuck they are. Okay, so he goes there in his service white uniform with his cover on. He doesn't walk in there. Okay, he swags in there. He moves like a dancer, like this. This is the way he walks into that fucking factory. Just like that. He just swags in there, right? Okay. And of course, all the women there are staring at him like, what the fuck is this? How the fuck did he get in there? Don't they have security? They're just letting anybody in there just because he's wearing a uniform. So he just walks in there, you know, they're all staring at him and they all look like fucking Laverne and Shirley. Okay. They all got the fucking bandanas on their head, the dirty clothes, the jeans, the aprons. They're all wearing, the ones that don't have bandanas are wearing hats, you know, to keep their hair out of their face. They're wearing earplugs, you know, because the machines are loud. They got aprons on. They got fucking shit and grease on their face and shit. They all look nasty as fuck when he walks in there and they're all staring at him. He's got this perfectly clean white uniform, you know, the white service dress, the hat, you know. He's kind of got the swag going on, you know, looking around, thinking he's fucking John Travolta. Well, he should have been John Travolta, but John Travolta turned this movie down, so it went to Richard Gere, and he's just looking at there, all right? And he walks over there, and of course, Esther notices him. She starts following him, like, what the hell's he doing here, you know? Because she knows that that's the guy that her daughter's in love with, right? So she follows him, and of course, he finds Paula over there working on her machine, and Lynette's there too, and Lynette sees him. She's like, you know, because Lynette's kind of feeling a little jealous now because this was supposed to happen to her, okay? Sid was supposed to graduate and sweep her off her feet and take her to wherever the fuck they were going next, okay? Marry her ass and get her the fuck out of Jerkwater fucking South Dakota, okay, wherever the fuck they are, okay? But it didn't because she lied to him and he killed himself because she told him the truth, that I was using you and that, you know, I don't want to marry you, you know, I wanted to marry an officer candidate. I wanted to marry an officer. I did not want to marry some jerk, you know, some Okie from Muskogee who's working at a fucking JCPenney, okay? I can get that here, okay? So she used him and he killed himself, okay? Now that part wasn't her fault, okay, but she didn't help, okay? Because she's been a selfish, lying fucking bitch, okay? And here's Paula, who did not do those things, although she wanted to, because Paula's not a perfect person either. She was gonna lie to Zach and say that she was pregnant to keep him from leaving her, okay? But her mom talked her out of it, and she realized this was the right choice, okay? The same lesson that fucking that Zach learned in this movie, Paula also learned it too, and she learned it first. You can't control people, okay? You can't make people. Zach couldn't stop Sid from killing himself. He couldn't do it, you know? And Paula cannot make Zach love her. Paula cannot make Zach take her with him. She's got to let him make his own mind. He's got to let him make his own decisions, and you got to live with that. And you got to be okay with it, okay? This was very hard for Paula to do, okay? But her mom told her, hey, this is what happened to me, okay? I tried to trap your dad. Her biological father was an officer candidate. I tried to trap him, and he fucking left me. He left us, okay? And I don't want you to make the same mistake that I did. You know, basically, you know, and that convinced Paula to do the right thing. And therefore, she was honest to Zach. She didn't lie to him. She treated him with respect. She cooked him fucking breakfast the next day after they had sex. I mean, oh my, she was the perfect girlfriend for him. Okay, but he didn't want to commit to her because he was scared. Yeah, because he grew up with fucking whores, for Christ's sake. How does he know she's not one too? She's a psycho slut. She is. I'm sorry, she is. She's a psycho slut. How does he know that she ain't gonna fuck him over too? You know, if he puts a ring on it. You know? You see what I mean? Maybe she wants to fuck him just so she can get pregnant, you know? You see what I mean? Yeah, we know that she's not like that because we know what's going on to her, but he doesn't know this stuff. He can't read her mind. He doesn't know the shit that we've seen her do that he doesn't know about. He doesn't know. He wasn't there. Okay, but we know, but he doesn't. So right now, by walking in there, he basically goes up to her and says like, hey, let's get out of here. You know, he doesn't say that, but that's what it means. Let's you and I get out of here. Let's get out of this fucking place. And he doesn't just mean like their location. He means like this place in their mind and this place in their heart where they don't let themselves love. This place in their mind where they close themselves off. You know, let's go somewhere else, you and I, you know, because I love you and because I don't want to go someplace new without you, you know? And I think that's kind of the message here is Zach decides to open himself up, to not be afraid of loving somebody, of letting that person love him. Okay, because he's been afraid to do this. Okay, but what he's decided now is just like in OCS, just like graduating the school, okay, he's got to be willing to let himself get hurt. He's got to be willing to allow that to happen. Because you don't get to have it both ways, okay? Whenever you open up a line with somebody, whenever you open up a relationship, you've got this pipe going from you to that person where things can go in, but things can also go out, okay? You receive the love, but when you receive love, that portal is also open to receive pain and vice versa, okay? So do you give up all feelings just so that you won't get pain, or do you accept the pain and the joy? You see what I mean? And he's decided he's going to accept both, the pain and the joy. Paula might fuck him over. She might meet a guy that outranks him and decide to fucking leave him and go off with that guy instead. I've seen it happen all the fucking time. I was in the military. I saw it happen all the fucking time. Okay, I never saw one of these fucking stupid ass relationships where you met like at school and shit where they worked out. No, not at all. Never seen that happen. Okay? I'm not saying it didn't happen, I just said I've never seen it, okay? But it fucking happens all the time. So what the fuck? That could happen to him too. Just because he's an officer now, she's gonna be stationed somewhere where there's a bunch of fucking colonels and shit and majors around who outrank him. So she can easily find another guy. The ratio, the male to fucking female ratio is still high. There's like 250 men for every fucking one woman. You see what I mean? So yeah, she could hurt his feelings. She could fucking break his heart. Okay, but he says, fuck it, I don't care. I love her. I'm not gonna pretend that I don't anymore. I'm not gonna push her away because if I do that, I'll lose her. And I don't want to lose her. I want to be with her because she actually provided joy for him. She made him feel good. He liked being with her. He didn't want to break it off with her. He didn't want to ghost her. He felt it was the right thing to do because he was getting too attached to her. And that scared him. That's not the excuse he used. He sure as fuck ain't going to tell you that or tell Paula that. But the truth is he was feeling for her. He was developing feelings for her, and that scared him. And he knows that if he develops feelings for her, then she has a way of hurting him now. And rather than let that happen, he just cut it off, okay? Now, she's a lot more brave than he is as far as that goes. She wants the feelings. She wants to fucking be with this guy. She knows that he could hurt her, but she doesn't care. She still wants to be with him. You see what I mean? So he had to take a leap of faith to be with her, and he decided to do that. And that's why he went in there, and that's why he grabbed her. And that's why he turned her around, and he kissed her, and he spun her around and all that kind of stuff, because, he started a new phase in his life. He's an officer now. This is what he dreamt about. He's going places he's never been before now. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. He's going to this different place, and one of those things he's going is love. He wants to give love a chance. He's never had a girlfriend. He's fucked a lot of women, but he never had a girlfriend. This is new to him, but he wants to give it a shot. He wants to be with her. He wants to have a girlfriend, okay? Because he knows that he does love this girl. He does. He's in love with this girl. He's in love with Paula. He most certainly is. Okay, no ordinary guy would do something like this, okay? No guy would do this unless he was in love with that woman. Okay, I know, I've done shit like this before, okay? I went over to my fucking girlfriend's, she was living in Tennessee, and I flew to fucking Tennessee to be with her, just to surprise her on her fucking birthday. Okay, nobody saw it coming, but I did, all right? So I know, okay? I know what he's going through, okay? This is not something that we do every day. This is someone that's special to us, someone that we love. And I don't mean love necessarily or just exclusively physically. Okay, love who they are inside, okay? You can see who they are on the inside, not just the outside, okay? That's what he feels with Paula. Paula is a woman, she's very feminine, okay, but she's not a perfect human being, okay? She gets hurt, okay, and she does some fucked up things too, okay? She makes mistakes, okay? But she doesn't try to pretend to be something that she's not, and she doesn't try to manipulate, okay? Like some of the other women do, Lynette, okay? She doesn't lie to people, lie to men, okay, to get them to do what she wants. She learned the lesson to let him do what he wants to do, okay? Like I said, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was. Now, she had to learn that the hard way, okay? And that's that. She set Zach free, and Zach came back to her. Because you know why? Because he didn't have to. Because he came back to her, not because she pressured him to, but because he wanted to. Because he legitimately loved being with her. Okay, and since he's not going to be afraid of doing things anymore, he's going to risk having his heart broken to be with Paula, and that's why he came in there, and that's why he spun her around. That's why, and for Paula, this was a payoff for her. She, it hurt her feelings. It broke her heart to know that the last time they saw each other, Zach told her to get the fuck away from him. He doesn't want anyone to love him. That's the last time they saw each other. That's what he said. Okay, and she accepted it. She didn't cry. She cried about it, but she didn't go after him. She didn't beg him to take her back. She didn't plead with it. She didn't blow up his phone. Nothing. She accepted it. Like her mom told her, you've got to let them do what they want to do. You can't control people. Okay? Don't try to trick them. Don't try to trap them, So she did it. She accepted the fact that the man she loves is going to go without her. And she didn't like it, but she said, okay, but I'm going to live with it. I'm going to fucking live with it. I'm going to live with the man that I love is going to leave without me. I'm going to live with that. Okay? And try to just make it every day. It'll get a little bit easier. And then he shows up. You know why? Because she wasn't trying to get him anymore. She wasn't trying to. That's when he decided to come to her. Push and pull. I've been talking about it throughout all this whole series, okay? But that's why, okay? So, of course, he spins her around, of course, Lynette's there all jealous, because that should have been her getting spun around, not Paula, okay? And she's like, way to go, Paula! Way to go! Yeah, fuck you, Lynette. Stay in that fucking factory. I hope you get promoted. All right, he puts his hands on Paula's cheeks, kisses her, spins her around a little bit. Then he spins her around some more. Okay, like so, the next clear says, and Zach spins Paula around his, Then he carries her up on his arms. The crescendo of the music, love lifts us up where we're beyond. The orchestra starts playing, real loud now. He picks her up, and starts carrying her. Now all the women that are in there are clapping. Everyone's fucking getting all wet watching fucking Zach Mayo pick up Paula Porkrisky, Paula the Polak. And she's all fucking happy. So of course she loses her hat, her cap that she was wearing, her hair falls down, so now she looks, more feminine, and basically he's telling her, let's get the fuck out of here, you and me. Come on, let's get the fuck out of here. I'm getting you out of here right now. I'm not gonna let you stay here, And that I can see from a woman's point of view, like how romantic that can be, especially if you don't like your life, if you don't like your circumstances, where you at, to have some Prince Charming, literally a white knight, literally come in there and fucking sweep you off your feet, literally, and take you out of the fucking shithole life you're living in Jerkwater, Georgia, or wherever the fuck they are. Okay. So, let's get the fuck out of here. That's a great message, okay? So not just their location and circumstance, like I said, and not only are they just leaving their location, their circumstance, but they're leaving their state of mind, the way they were thinking before. All that's going to go on now. They're going to start thinking a different way, and they're going to do it together, okay? They're going to start thinking on faith, and he will, and Zach will risk getting hurt, okay? So Zach realized that the pain is the price for living. It's the price you pay to be alive, is pain. You don't get one without the other, okay? And pain will not stop him from being the man that he wants to be, okay? And this man that he wants to be does not want to go anywhere, doesn't want to go to this new place in his life without Paula. He wants to go with her, all right? He's no longer afraid to admit to himself or to Paula that he loves her, okay? And she did earn it, like I said. She went through her own character arc here. She earned it the hard way, just like he did, all right? And whatever's ahead, I want to go with you, is basically what he's saying. Whatever's ahead, I want to go with you, Paula, because I love you, And her lips, you can read her lips there. She says, I love you too. When he's carrying her, she's looking at him. She says goodbye to her mom real quickly, who's there too. They're all clapping. And her mom, of course, is so proud. This is what she wanted. She wanted her daughter to have that happiness that she didn't have. So I can imagine how proud she is and happy she is for her daughter, okay? And everyone's claps, okay? And he carries Paula out of there. She says quick goodbye to her mom, Esther. And Paula is clearly very happy here in the scene, okay? She takes off his cap, his cover, and puts it on herself, okay? Okay, like she did earlier when they were in bed together earlier, when his soft penis slipped out of her and they talked about it. Little Zachary, okay? That was earlier in the movie, okay? And he carries her out of that fucking factory in the silhouette out into the sunlight. The end. All right, great movie, wasn't it? Great fucking movie. I learned a lot from this movie. One of the best romance movies I've ever seen. I was in the military, so I related a lot to it. Okay, and yeah, I love the message at the end. That what's more important than what you accomplished is how you get there. Okay, what kind of man that you want to be is a lot more important than the man that you. Well, the man that you want to be is a lot more important than the job that you do. Is what I'm trying to say. Okay, he decided he was going to be a gentleman. He decided he'd become a gentleman. He earned it too, okay? He's going to risk getting hurt. He's going to take chances, okay? And he's going to do it because, for the best reason of all, for love, okay? Because he does love Paula. I completely 150% believe that he loves Paula, okay? All right. So thank you very much for watching this review with me. And I don't know what movie I'm going to review next, but I will get back to you on that, all right? And I thank you very much for watching this series as long as you have, and I will see you soon on the next one. Bye.